Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield, and I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. Before we jump into the text today, I want to say a couple of things. If you have kids within earshot and your parents and you're listening to Cornerstone Connection, let me just encourage you, maybe listen to this one first on your own and then decide if you want to listen to it with your kids, just based upon the content within the book of the Bible we're in today. Secondly, I wonder, have you ever read the Bible and asked the question that I've asked and I asked today? God, why? Why did you have to do it that way, God? God, I don't get it. I don't understand why it had to be done that way. This is a common question, the question of why and why this way and not that way, God. And we try to use our human understanding to understand the ways of God, and often doesn't work out. But sometimes our questions seem really, really valid, and I believe they might today. But at the same time, what's beautiful about the Bible is as we ask those questions, we can also seek the same Bible that causes those questions. We can seek the same Bible for the answers to those questions. And I believe we're going to do that today. So join me in Numbers chapter 31 today. The Israelites are continuing their journey. They've escaped from Egypt. They're going through their 40-year journey through the desert on their way to the promised land, the land that God has promised them. And of course, along the way, they face some enemies. And that is what is happening today. Numbers 31, it says this: The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Avenge the people of Israel on the Midianites. Afterward, you shall be gathered to your people. Moses, you're going to die, and then you're going to be buried with your people. So Moses spoke to the people, saying, Arm men from among you for the war, that they may go against Midian to execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian. So we see our enemy here, our Israelites' enemy, the Midianites. You shall send 1,000 from each of the tribes of Israel to the war. So there were provided out of the thousands of Israel, 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to war, 1,000 from each tribe, together with Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, with the vessels of the sanctuary and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. They warred against Midian, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they killed every male. They killed the kings of Midian with the rest of their slain, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. And they also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, with the sword. And the people of Israel took captive the women of Midian and their little ones. And they took as plunder all their cattle, their flocks, and all their goods. And all their cities, in the places where they lived, and all their encampments they burned with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the plunder, both of men and of beasts. Then they brought the captives and the plunder and the spoil to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and to the congregation of the people of Israel, and at the camp on the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. Verse 13, Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the chiefs of the congregation went to meet them outside the camp. And Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds who had come from service in the war. And Moses said to them, Have you let all the women live? Behold, these on Balaam's advice caused the people of Israel to act treacherously against the Lord in the incident of Peor, and so the plague came among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man by lying with him. But all the young girls who have not known man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Encamp outside the camp 7 days. Whoever of you has killed any person, and whoever has touched any slain, purify yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. You shall purify every garment, every article of skin, all work of goat's hair, and every article of wood. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men in the army who had gone to battle, This is the statute of the law that the Lord has commanded Moses. Only the gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead. Everything that can stand the fire you shall pass through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it should also be purified with the water for impurity. And whatever cannot stand the fire you shall pass through the water. You must wash your clothes on the 7th day, and you shall be clean. And afterward you may come into the camp. That's where we're going to stop reading today. Now, maybe you know why I posed the question at the beginning. Maybe you know what caught my attention, but maybe not. You know, when I read about these stories in the Old Testament, when God sent his people to go against an enemy and to not just kill the fighting men, but to also kill the women, to kill some of the children, sometimes all of the children, man, this kind of makes me anxious. It gets me stirred up in my heart, and I think that's just normal, right? It's just normal human reaction. We know we have a good and a loving God. Why would he want such destruction brought against people? And so again, as I said before, just like the Bible can be the causer of questions, a lot of times it can also be the answer to our questions. And so as I was wrestling with this text today, there was two separate texts, one from the Old Testament, one from the New Testament, that reminded me of what might be the answer to these questions, what reminded me of the why behind the potential what. And so first off, I think of Genesis chapter 12, and I think of when God came to Abraham and he said, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. And he says, I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. And then listen to this. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. And so God set from the beginning of this whole mission of having this people that was to be his own, his chosen people, that was to bless all the earth. He made it clear that if there is a people out there that dishonors his people, he's going to make them a curse. And we see that within Numbers chapter 31, that the Midianites had dishonored God's people by making them impure and by influencing them to worship other gods. Secondly, I think of 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 16, which actually quotes an Old Testament verse. And Peter writes, he says, it is written, you shall be holy, this is God speaking, for I am holy. And so again, in this instance in Numbers 31, we see the Israelites completely destroying a people. And again, it causes me to go, why, God? Why does it have to be done that way? Well, it's because of him. It's because he is holy. And because he is holy, we are his people, we are also to be holy. And so he was working at destroying anything that would make his people unholy, because if they became unholy, they wouldn't be a blessing to the earth. Instead, they would be a curse. And from Genesis chapter 12, we see his people were intended to be a blessing. The only way to be a blessing was to be holy as God is holy. Friends, I don't know if this helps you. I don't know if it causes more questions today. But my encouragement each and every time is that I hope it challenges you to go deeper into God's word, to understand God more, and to grow as a follower of Jesus. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.